Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised. God is greatly feared in the council of the holy ones, more awe-inspiring than all who surround him. Hello, this is Pastor George on Time with Reverend George, and it is good and so powerful to come your way one more time. Today, we are going deeper into what we have started. It's all about worship. With time, we will move into relationship, as in relationship dealing with marriage. We will move into peer counseling. We'll move into human resources and its managerial roles. But let's zoom into worship and see how best we can learn something. You know what? I want us to consider something so special. You know, nowadays we have names like minister so and so, minstrel so and so, minister so and so, and people start asking questions that who is minister so and so, who is minstrel, and where did this name come from? Instead of maybe naming the person or giving the person a title like pastor, prophet, evangelist, teacher, apostle, now we have the name minister A, minister B, and I know you hear most of that. Today I want us to look at something. Is it somebody who sings alone, or somebody who plays a harp, or somebody who plays a saxophone, somebody who plays trumpet, somebody who plays a keyboard, or who is a minister? Today, I want us to take our time. We will be talking more environmental than scriptural. When God's people meet, what happens? Do we say that the minister is the one who is leading the worship, or the minister is the one who is leading the song? I want us to think deeply about this. Today we're looking at the 21st century minister. Who is a 21st century minister? 21st century minister is the one who stands in the presence of God wherever, that is irrespective of geographical location, and ministers in the house of God. It can be outside, it can be within a confine, but the person does a ministry work in the house of God. I want to make mention of some of the ministers we know, or the minstrels. I know you have so much on your mind. You'll be talking about singers, but I want to talk about ushers. Have you noticed that ushers are also ministers in the house of God? They direct God's people into God's presence, humanly speaking. So they minister, they welcome people. We have singers, the backup singers. You see, I'm not talking about the ones you know. I'm talking about people we mostly lose sight of. So we have the backup singers, and the backup singers are also ministers. They minister unto us, body, soul, and spirit. They edify us. We have the choreographers. Have you noticed that? They bring joy to you. They speak with their moves, their curves, without necessarily talking overtly with their mouth. Have you noticed that? We have tambourine players. They play the tambourine, they shake it in a very nice way, more harmonious and uniform manner. Have you noticed that? We have the formation dancers. I once visited a church and it was so wonderful how they did it. About 50 of them all in front, and they would move in unison. And you see that they are really ministering to us. So it is not only the singers, or maybe the worship minister, or the lead singer of a choir, or you can call it a contemporary singing group. Then we have the musicians or the instrumentalists, those who put instruments together with sounds, strange sounds, and make meaning out of that. Have you ever attended an orchestra, a program that people wouldn't sing, but they will only be playing instruments, and you were edified? They are also part of those who minister in the presence of God. We have the music directors, those who put all those things together. They call the backup singers, they call the choir, they try to bring harmony between those who are playing the instruments and others who are singing. The music directors, they are also ministers. We have the sound engineers. I don't know if you have also considered that. They are also ministers. So I'm talking about the 21st century minister. And I know you are also part of that. You have a way of playing your role. I call them hand clappers. They are sophisticated hand clappers. They do so much in the house of God. We have real dancers. We have photography. Those who are into photography, those who are into IT, putting everything together to make meaning in the house of God. Then we have people you are thinking about, the worship ministers or the lead singers. They are also there. All these people put together are ministers in the house of God. I know you have so many others, probably I didn't mention, but know that we have a category of ministers in the house of God. They put everything together and make worship meaningful whenever we gather, whether evening service or Sunday service or whichever day you meet to worship the Lord. I want us to take our time and then look at some foundations about the 21st century minister. There are divine ways the minister should portray himself or herself. Let me tell you, have you ever thought of a minister having a purpose? Is it only about singing? Is it only about playing instruments? Can we say that the minister who finds himself or herself in the house of God does that one on purpose? The first one, the minister should have a divine purpose. If you lack purpose, any form of row or argument that may come up in the house of God can push you out of your ministry. Remember, if you are an usher and you know the purpose for which you are ushering people into his presence physically, you will never be perturbed by what people say and how people see you. Have a purpose. In Acts chapter 26 verse 12 through 19, the people of God would gather on one purpose, and they will make sure they deliver what is expected of them. If it is singing, you sing. If it is cleaning up of the house of God, like the Levites used to do in the Old Testament, do it. It is part of the ministry, and you are a minister. That is why I have captioned it the 21st century minister. The purpose means you should have a clear vision. If you are able to define where you're going, nothing can move you or sway you off your feet. Under the purpose, you should also have a sense of mission. Where are you heading towards? Have you ever sat down to plan that in 5 years' time, I'm not just going to be an usher or maybe a cleaner in the house of God in that unison, but rather I'm going to upgrade myself in a better way. Have you ever thought of going to visit other churches to learn how their ushering is done? You know, I'm not mentioning singers because I know that is where you are thinking that I would hate. I just want to take the lower set of people we mostly don't consider. Visit other churches. Have your ministry on purpose. Make sure you have a clear vision. You have a sense of mission. And then any vision that is well set gives strength of continuity. I don't know if you've noticed that. You have the heart to continue. You have the passion. That introduces me to the second one. The first one is have a sense of purpose. The second one is have a divine passion. I don't know if you've noticed that some people can even be insulted in the house of God, but because of their passion for the work, they hardly get out of the lane. They want to do it. They enjoy doing it. So the first one I said you should have divine purpose. The second one, you should have divine passion for your work. The third one I want to talk about is have a divine pursuit. So 3 P's: purpose, passion, and pursuit. If you have a sense of pursuit, nothing can thwart your effort. Nothing can derail you off the mark. Even as I bring the first phase of our message on the new introduction I've made on 21st Century Minister, think about this, that you should have a purpose, you should have a passion, and the final one, you should have a sense of pursuit. A sense of pursuit means continuity. You are not relenting, you are not cutting it off because somebody has insulted you or maybe brought you down, defamed you, or thwarted your integrity, but you would always want to focus on what is expected of you. Think about this even as I bring the message to a close. Know that there is something greater inside of you. You are a minister. You don't necessarily need to become a pastor, a teacher, an apostle, an evangelist, or a prophet before you are classified as a minister. Some people can sing and the presence of God will be made manifest. You can play the tambourine and the presence of God will be made manifest. Somebody would devote himself or herself in cleaning the pews in the house of God, and whenever you enter, even the aroma in the house of God will cause you to always enjoy the service. It is a ministry. God bless you. Have a sense of purpose, have a sense of passion, and have a sense of pursuit. The name is Pastor George on Time with Reverend George. God be with you. Bye-bye.